Hello folks, now this video is going to concentrate on the phases of 4, 5 and 6 of the new expedition, the Cursed Expedition from No Man's Sky. And the main reason for doing this, just in case you weren't aware, is so you can get this utterly fantastic S-class ship called the Nuyameg, which I'm going to rename to something far more stupid at some point in the future. So then, let's start off by looking at phase 4. The first one, Discordant, you need to amass Atlantidium or whatever it's called. Easy peasy, just kill corrupted sentinels. Look for a planet with dissonance. So when you do a scan, you'll see it says dissonance detected. That's when you're going to get the corrupted sentinels there. There's loads of purpley malarkey all over the shop. Living fragments as well. They can also be mined for this, but be careful. Don't bother with the big radiant shards because they don't give the Atlantidium. It's just the living fragments and also the corrupted sentinels. And what this does then is gives you the elixir of blood in order to get to the next portal. Now the next one, metal bones, we've got to get some tainted metal from a derelict freighter. Now the only way you can find a derelict freighter, apart from complete blind luck, which of course will be a total nightmare to try, you need to go and speak to the station scrap dealer. So you want to go to the systems station, speak to the scrap dealer who's up at the back there, and then you need to buy the transponder for the derelict freighter, okay? But they cost 5 million quid, alright? So you might have already amassed a bit of wealth while you're doing it. I didn't find it too hard to get the wealth, particularly when I was getting the ancient bones that we were digging for in the previous phases, because you can flog them off for anywhere between 100,000 or, well, 90,000 up to about 500,000. So they're very, very good for knocking up the amount, but just sell the most expensive things that you've got. Just be careful not to sell anything that you're going to use. So basically, buying, selling, and scanning, and digging, and selling is the way to go. So it depends how close you are to it, really. But you want to sell as much of that as possible. Digging up these ancient bones can sometimes produce legendary ones as well, which are a nice big wodge of cash. So you just have to be patient and cough up your 5 million when you're done. When you buy the actual transponder from the scrap dealer, you need to then activate it, go into warp. It'll tell you when to drop out of warp, and then you'll find the derelict freighter. You want to swoop in, look for the landing pads. They can be quite small, but they've got like circular sort of things on them. There's circular landing pads and a square pad, really. So you just want to hover over it, land, and then make your way in. If you've never done a derelict freighter before, they're not very difficult, to be perfectly honest, but there's no save points in them. So if you die, you'll have to go back to the start, okay? But you don't really lose anything. You can pick up from where your corpse died, and you can pick up anything that you've collected. Now from this, we need to get tainted metal. Now you're going to get that sometimes from some of the crates that you opened up and things like that as you're going through. Make sure you explore every nook and cranny. When you're in the freighter, the blue door with the little blue sign above it marks the way to go to finish it, and the purple door marks side rooms. So always have a check of the side rooms as well. They do glitch out. It has glitched out on me a couple of times, particularly with my I was suddenly looking out to space, so they can be a little bit glitchy and buggy, so just be careful on the way in there. But once you've completed it and you think, oh no, I don't have enough of the tainted metal, don't worry, because when you go back to the space station, when you've completed it, you get the crew manifest, okay? What you want to do is make sure you sell those back to the scrap dealer, and he'll give you tainted metal for both of them. There's a crew manifest, and there's another document there as well that you can sell back over. Don't give them to the guild person. The guild person is the one who's up on the top. Just ignore them. Stick with the scrap dealer up the back, and they'll be able to give you correct amount of tainted metal for you to complete this step. Next, the genetic glitch objective. You need to discover 2 exotic creatures. Now, when I was in the particular system that I was in, you find an exotic world. Now, you can spot an exotic world. What you need to do is come into your Discoveries tab there. You can see it's the first one on the left. And what you're looking for is a planet with a kind of an odd title is the best way to describe it. It could have something like capped, columned, hexagonal, shattered, redacted is another one that I've seen. But the one that's specific to this one is called Planet of Light. Then all you need to do is land, get your visor out, and scan for the fauna. Exotic worlds normally only have one fauna there, and that's the exotic one, so they're quite easy to find. You can see on this one, it's like there's weird light beams. Now, I only found one on this planet, and it requires you to find 2 to complete that objective. But don't worry, because you can just complete it in a different phase. I actually managed to complete this one in phase 5. I'll show you that when we get on to that next part. Now, the next objective in deep water requires us to go and basically find a bit of deep water and hover over it. So, of course, you need to find a world with water on it, and then you can see here I'm over a depth of 50 U's, whatever they are, 50 meters depth, I suppose. And then you can see it counting up there, 15, 16, 17. It only kicks in when you're floating in place over the correct amount of water. You can see it sort of dips in and dips out. It can be a tad annoying, but don't worry, you'll get it, no worries at all. Just find a deep bit of water. And then on this world as well, you can do the next one called Glassy Stare. Now, these are hypnotic eyes you need to find from the Abyssal Horrors. Now, make sure as well, another little tip for you, when you go into your expedition menu, make sure you click on the objective that you want to do, because then it'll give you the relevant information in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and then also give you any waypoint markers that you need to follow, okay? But for these Abyssal Horrors, make sure you've got it selected. Then you want to go into the water and then activate your target sweep mode, and it'll tell you whether to go left or right, and then it'll show you, there'll be like an exclamation mark as to where the Abyssal Horror is located. Sometimes they're in caves, sometimes they're on the ocean floor, so you can just use your terrain manipulator to get in there if you're not too sure. But once you do that, you'll be able to confront them, kill them, and nick their eyes. The eyes can disappear quite quickly though, so make sure you pick them up quick. Now, for me, this next step, Arachnophobia, was the worst, actually. I didn't enjoy doing it very much at all. You've got to kill 8 corrupt quadrupeds. Now, these guys are part of a corrupted sentinel wave attack, okay? So, you need to locate a dissonant world, first of all. Then you need to locate some corrupt sentinels, and then you just need to start killing them. Now, once you get to, because it goes up in waves, it goes up to waves 2, 3. I found around about wave 3, that's when these quadrupeds would start spawning in. So they're kind of much bigger versions than the little sentinels that you see floating around and walking around the place. They do hit pretty hard. They jump at you really hard as well and can knock you back. There's a few things that can get very difficult in this. First of all, the other little sentinels will float around and repair this bigger one. So sometimes you're going to have to shoot the smaller ones to kill them so that they don't repair it, but they do constantly respawn as well. So you just got to try and keep the numbers down, really, and then get your kick-ins in. I was using my pulse splitter, or pulse spitter, I can never remember which one it is. That's the weapon that I got from completing one of the previous objectives. So I found that quite useful. It doesn't do massive damage, but it's not bad in giving the kick-ins. The other thing you need to keep aware of are all those really annoying squiddly diddly things. Make sure you've got enough elixir of glass to take so you can keep your purple bar up so they don't attack you. Because once they drop down to right about halfway, of course, they're going to attack you. So you're going to have the little sentinels, you're going to have the jellyfish, and the big one attacking you. I must admit, I died quite a lot doing this. So it can be a little bit irritating, but don't worry, of course, you can just pick up all the stuff you've dropped as well. So don't worry about finding them. All you need to do is find some corrupted sentinels. One of those things as well, there's the dissonant resonators. You see them, they're like quadruped things, like with a big antenna on them. They don't attack you, but when you shoot them, that'll also trigger a corrupted sentinel attack too. Keep on killing all the gits until you see these quadrupeds turn up. All I can say is just keep patient. When you shoot the little ones, they do drop the little canisters that you can pick up, and that'll recharge your shields or sometimes give you ammo, but you will probably end up having to create more ammo. I think I went about 50,000 rounds killing all of these, so you're going to have to be creating as much ammo as possible. You just need the ferrite dust, I believe, to do that. Right, so once you've completed all of those, then you can move on to Breach 4. Now, what you need to do is make the elixir of blood, and then you've already done this, of course, and then make the quicksilver. Don't consume the elixir of blood because you need it when you get to the portal, okay? So consume the elixir of quicksilver. That'll point you to where the portal is, and then make sure you make the elixir of blood and then just touch the portal to activate it, and then we're going to move on to phase 5. Okay, we're basically into the final phase now because phase 6 is just collecting all your goodies. So, first of all, we're going to have a look at the Stone Ghost one, which is finding ancient relics. I found this a bit of a pain in the bum initially, but there's a way so it can go a lot quicker for you. It tells you to construct a signal booster, place that on the planet's surface, then use it, and it'll do a scan, and then you want to go and have a little look to find ancient relics. The trouble with that is, of course, is that there might not be any in range, so you're going to have to pick it back up again, get back in your ship, fly somewhere different, drop it down again, scan again, and as you can imagine, it can get a little bit tedious. But there is ways to find these things without having to use the signal booster. What you need to do is come back to the space station from the chap who sells the cartographic data. Okay, you can see them, he's just up the back there. Now what you need to do is buy a planetary chart called the Alien Cartographic Data. And what you need to do is just buy 2 of these, because all we need to do is find 2 of these relics. Now, for me, when I landed on the planet, I activated the navigation data once I got out of my ship. Okay, so get out of your ship first. That creates an auto-save point once you jump out of your ship. Then you want to activate the actual cartographic data, one of the ones that you bought, and it'll show you somewhere to go. What you want to do is fly to it. Now, if it's something you can interact with, for me, they were called ancient plaques. I know these work. So once I scanned, interacted with that, and then asked for knowledge, that counted as one of these ancient relics. Now, I have seen various other ones as well, like monoliths or alien ruins, but not buried ruins. Buried ruins didn't give me anything I could interact with which counted towards it. So what I would do is, I'm always looking for the ones that say ancient plaques. So what I would do is land on the planet, jump out, that'll create that save point like I said, and then use your cartographic data and it'll scan. If it's not an ancient plaque, I just reload in and do it again until I got an ancient plaque. It didn't take me very long at all, it took me a few loads. So just make sure you've got the cartographic data and find ancient plaques, do 2 of them, and that'll be that one done as well. Now remember, in this system as well, we needed to find another exotic creature. You may have already found 2, I don't know, some people have said they've done it. I didn't find it really. I had to find my final one here in phase 5. So I found it on a moon called Duprey Y38, and I went down and it was one of these really weird places with rolling balls. Another way you can detect if it's an exotic planet, the fauna is called misplaced, so it's all very strange. Well, anyway, I just scanned my second exotic life form on the moon of Duprey Y38, so Y38 rather, so I got that one done there nice and easy. Now, there are a couple of other ones here in this particular phase that you should be doing as you're going along. You've got the ink-drenched skies, which is just kill 64 of the annoying squiddy gits who just turn up. You should have done that by now. It's no problem really at all. And then reality foam, which means create 4,200 nanites. I done that by the time I got to this phase. But you do get lots of nanites when you're doing the derelict freighter. You can get it from selling upgrades, or if you collected loads of living slime, stick that in a refiner, and that'll refine it to the runaway mold, and then the runaway mold can be turned into nanites. So there's lots of ways for you to grab the 4,200. I didn't find that particularly difficult to get, but your experience might be a little bit different. But I had loads of living slime on the freighter that I went into, so I did find that useful for converting to the nanites. So ink-drenched skies and reality foam and stone ghost all done, and of course we've just done the genetic glitch one as well. The next part is breach 5, so we need to create an elixir of blood and the elixir of quicksilver again to go through the final portal. So this is it really. So create the quicksilver, consume it, go to the portal, make sure you create the elixir of blood and you've got it in your inventory. Make sure it's the right one as well, because it tells you which one to create. It's like a little symbol at the corner and it changes for each phase, so don't craft the wrong one just in case. I ran out of mordite at this point, which we need in order to create the elixir of blood, and I thought you could only get it from those really annoying brood creatures, you know, that pop out. But in fact, you can get it from killing any living creature. Or, if you've got facium, or faecium, rather, faecium, it's the poo one, basically. You can refine that in your personal refiner or in a refiner on the planet, and that then will become mordite as well. So I found that pretty useful. So that's my only problem for that. And then we went through breach 5, and we were on to the last part. Now these are all pretty easy to do. It's not that difficult really. You've got the face of glass, so you need to locate the voice of glass. When you come through the portal, you can see that's represented by a squid on the HUD. Just fly to it, land. You can interact there with that person, and then they'll give you the elixir of water. So you create the elixir of water, consume it. I won't tell you what happens in the end there, but once you do that, then we're at the end of the expedition, which is totally fantastic. So what you need to do is go back to the Death Star, and make sure then what you do is transfer the things that you want to take with you, okay? And when you go through also the different parts of the phases, claim all your rewards as you go through. You also claim the ship at that point as well. Now perhaps somebody can help me out with this, because once I claimed the ship, I went back to my primary save, and of course my ship, it wasn't my ship then, it went back to being my old ship. Do you know what I mean? Because my primary save had my old ship, the Pork Sword. So what I had to do then was, I wanted to go back to the expedition console here, and then in the expedition console then you can recreate, look, I can copy the Boundary Herald, that's the starship, which is the one that we've got there, and you can also make a copy of your multi-tool, but that does cost nanites to do, look, okay? So just make sure you're aware of that as well. You will need some nanites to pull that across, and then if you want to change to your ship that you've got, look, you want to go down here, you want to go down to the summoned vehicles, and then go to switch to dock ships, and I got my Pork Sword there, or my Reforged, because that's my other one there, look, is the one that we've just earned. So that's how you change to the ship. And make sure you don't end the expedition without collecting everything that you need. I made a dreadful mistake, because this is my first expedition. I didn't take the cargo out of my ship, and it looks like I lost every bloody thing. Is that true? I probably have. All this is the stuff that I pulled in from my exosuit. So I think I lost all the cargo of my ship when I transferred it over, when I collected the new one, the Boundary Herald. So there we go. Learn from my mistakes. That's the way. Yes. Let me know in the comments if you've got any other hints and tips on this. It's the first time I've ever done an expedition. I really enjoyed it, and I'll definitely be doing more. Okie dokie then. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. Sausage out.